Item 2, First Amendment to the Economic Development Agreement between the City of Lewisville and Wells Fargo. Item 3, I'm going to have to ask someone to pull this, as I'll need to recuse myself, as will Councilmember Green.
I will pull it.
Item 4, Professional Services Agreement with Burkhoff, Hendricks, and Carter.
Mayor,
For
can we have
this.
someone other than the person who's recusing herself?
Yeah, I think, yeah, it can't be
Okay.
you.
Sorry.
It can't be me that pulls
Well, it
it.
should-
It's better, it's better.
Yeah.
That's better.
Okay.
I'll pull it.
This is 110 for engineering services for the elevated storage tank repaint. Item 5 for Huffines Boulevard improvements, just shy of $1 million with Half Associates. Item 6, local agreement between the County of Dallas and City of Lewisville for sharing of contraband sales.
That's selling seized contraband, not selling contraband, right? So make sure I know what I'm voting on.
I mean, contraband, yeah, right now it's
Oh, again,
seized.
eyes open.
Making sure.
That's fair. I mean, technically both definitions would work.
That's true, yeah.
Item 7, approval of recommended actions for select artworks. We're moving some artworks. Item 8, approval of the resolution calling for the May 2nd Lewisville City Council general election and the calendar thereof. Item 9 on the consent agenda, resolution of the City Council authorizing agreement to disperse grant funding to the United Way of Denton County. Move to regular hearing, item 10. Ordinance of Lewisville City Council amending Chapter 16 Utilities, Water and Sewer. This is a change due to state regulation.
So are we electing members this, or are we just establishing the committee?
We're just establishing it right now.
Okay.
And we'll bring back recommendations in the future meeting.
Item 11, this is amend the previous adopted and approved budget ordinance with a supplemental appropriation to debt service. Item 12, this one is because we've had to push off by state law. The CAD cannot extend their elections, so anything that we do on this one doesn't matter at this point because we had to cancel from Mini Snowmageddon. The individual that I was going to recommend, James Lawrence, was nominated by the City of Carrollton. So we'll still have the opportunity to vote when that comes back around for the CAD. So this one will state that it's there, and then we'll just stop because there's no action to be taken there on item 12 or item 11. No,
Item
12. Yep, sorry. We have reports, and then we do have 3 items for closed session.
Yes.
Any questions or comments on the consent and regular agenda? If not, we'll go ahead and move into kayak launch and paddleway update.
Put it in here.
All right,
Stacy and Marcus.
Mayor, City Council, members and park fans, we're going to run you through a quick update of what's going on with our kayak launches, kind of the history of how we got to what we have right now, what their performance has been since installation, what some of our solutions and action plans are, and then what our next steps. I'll take the first half and then hand it off over to Marcus. So the history of a kayak launch is back when we looked at the 2025 vision plan, we looked at the green centerpiece and extending the green, saying that we really need to invest in our green centerpiece and connect people to the paddleways there. We identified sites at Leela and just south of FM 3040 at Hebron Parkway. Shortly after executing 2025 and moving into those plans, we worked with Jacobs to design both of those launches. And they were very robust, and intense designs for both sites. And as we were looking at the budget and really thinking about what Leela is and how, natural we want to keep that landscape, we decided to drop the focus of the Leela site and focus down at Hebron Parkway. And at the time, there was really some discussion about what the orientation of the kayak launch should be, because truly what you want is your launch going with the flow of water rather than the flow of water coming at your launch, just to make it easier for you to approach launch, get off of the launch when you're first starting off, but also to limit the damage that might happen to the launch itself or the ramp. But if you'll remember at the time, we had some intense scrutiny going on with our ADA access at the time. And we wanted to make sure that either launch, but specifically this one at Hebron, had ADA accessibility, and orienting it to go with the flow of water was making that difficult, figuring out how we could do that. So design at the time was, well, we could mitigate the issue of the orientation of the dock by having it to be a floatable, and it could move up and down when the flow of water got intense. That's what we went with. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and U.S. Fish and Wildlife reviewed the plans, not only from a design standpoint, but you'll remember there's zebra mussels out there that are attacking everybody, invasive species. They're like the equivalent of privet in the water. But they approved that in 2017, and then we got the plans done by 2019, and we went to construction with Kwikset in 2019 and completed the Hebron kayak launch in 2020. It's a beautiful launch, but it really does have a lot of concrete out there. But the launch is fully accessible for anyone in a wheelchair or a walker to get in and out with their kayak. And we also made sure that we started a really good partnership with the Trinity River Coalition, who successfully lobbied the National Park Service to designate the Trinity River as a national recreation trail. And so they've been out there. They tout this launch to all of their partners. It's one of the most robust and easy to get in. Unfortunately, it is a little susceptible when the water flow is high and there's a lot of debris on the water. When we got these done and started offering the services out to the public, we put maintenance procedures in place, making sure that we had daily, weekly, and quarterly tasks out there, not only to see what we needed, how we should maintain it on our regular basis, but what is that preventive maintenance we need to do to make sure we're checking, where we connect into the to the launch and the ramps, and making sure everything's working well. We also, before then, had a procedure in place that limits access to the Elm Fork when the Corps is releasing a lot of water, right? And that's for several reasons. One, water's moving a lot faster than people anticipate. Usually it's running between 300 and 500 CFS. That's a normal day. But when it starts getting up to 3,000, we shut down the river to kayak or canoeing traffic. But then when it gets up to 5,000 CFS, we just close access to that area in general. No fishing, what have you, because water's going everywhere. It's coming out at a great rate. It's also when birds are down there, because all the fish are flying out the bottom of the lake, right? And so it's you gotta watch out. It's like, the shoe. Okay. But when we have those things, when we have high releases, it causes a lot of unknown debris to kind of dislodge, and it really sometimes can make the trail down from Leela to the Hebron Parkway a little bit treacherous. And that happened this year, actually. In October, we were getting some reports from our partners that there was a lot of debris, and we probably shouldn't allow any traffic to go down down the waterway. And so we closed it in October of 2025, and we started coordinating cleanup, not only with the Trinity River Coalition, but our river care team, some of our kayak contractors, as well as the fire department, to see how we can get down there and remove some of that debris and make it safe. So we're still working through that, and Marcus will show you some pictures and what our plans are on that. But that's kind of how we've gotten to the point we are right now. Marcus will explain a little bit of the challenges we face when we do have that high water release.
If we let it go all the way up there, it would just break those things apart. So our team actually has to go in there. Well, sometimes, it's even the water starting to rise and get up there and release those pins. We do it safely, by the way. This was last year. This is a really significant event. You can tell this is right when it went down. This is June 13th of 25. So just take note. That was June 13th that the water went down. We didn't get this open until July 9th, I think, this past year. So that's how long it took us to get in there and actually clean the gunk, mud, and all that good stuff, bad stuff that's in there. It's pretty significant. You can see this ramp right here is actually sitting on silt. They're not designed that to be there. There should be water under there. That's how much mud and gunk is just flowing up under it. So it's just a lot of maintenance and a lot of time to try to get all that cleared out. This is at the same time, you can see what we received was one of them big trees, and it actually landed on the ramp and it caused a lot of damage. So that was one of the things. You can see another big stump here, another tree down over there. When it gets high, it starts, that water's moving, and there's significant trees and debris that just come down. These next few pictures are from Lila down to the kayak launch. These are some of the things we're dealing with and why it's closed right now, because especially novice paddlers would not make it through this area. And this is just a small snippet of one of the areas. You can see just tons of buildup, tons of garbage, trees, trunks, silt, all kinds of grasses, all kinds of stuff that's just getting pushed down. This is an aerial view of that same area. You can see there's just no way past there to be safe. So we're gonna have to get in there, and it's gonna take us some time. This is, like I said, this is just a snippet. Chris Chastain sent his drone all the way down the river, and there's several of these areas throughout, from Leela to Hebron, that is causing this stuff. And this stuff, it makes it down to Hebron and causes damage to our kayak. So what are we gonna do about it, really? So our solution is, we love the dock and the way it was designed and everything, but it's just not performing the way we want to. So we are gonna remove it from this area, and I'll tell you what we're gonna do with it in a second. But we're gonna remove this railing right here, and we're gonna create just a sloped launch from the top of this area right here. And we're either gonna do a concrete launch, or we might even do a geotech, depending on what we're allowed to do, and as quickly as we can, to just get a nice sloped area there. It'll allow us to get in there and clean it up quicker and get that launch up open much quicker, because we are gonna have the high events again. Those are always gonna happen. We don't have control over those. So that's gonna reduce our ongoing maintenance and repair costs in this area right here. It's gonna get us, it's gonna decrease the time that the actual launch is closed. So hopefully we can shorten those, 50 to 79 days down to maybe 20, 30 days, and just while the water's high. It's gonna cost us a little bit of money. It costs us around a little over $200,000 to do this work, maybe less if we go with the geotech. But that's our plan, to make sure to get this thing back open and operational as soon as possible. The other part of it is, I want to give you a quick update on the Hebron, since we're talking about Hebron, is the Parkway Screening Wall and Trail Project. You guys, you all approved that a couple months ago. The current status right now is we issued a notice to proceed. We're working through an easement problem issue with the waste management right now. Hopefully we get that sorted out pretty soon. But when we break down, it will take 7 months to get that completed.
That will also give another point of access from the other side, right? It'll make that a little bit easier to.
Yeah, and just to also address the ADA issue, this whole area is we'll still have this whole concrete slope from the top, so people with wheelchairs or walkers are still going to be able to access this in a safe manner and still be able to launch from there. So what do we do with that dock? Our solution is to bring it over to Boat Ramp 1 at Lake Park. This is the current status of our courtesy dock at Boat Ramp 1 right now. It's seen better days. We've been putting it together and welding it together for the last few years, and I think it's had enough. But it's really important we do that, because it's going to serve as the courtesy dock for all of Lake Park during the time that we go to construction for Boat Ramp 2, which will happen later on this year. So it'll be our only boat ramp. We need a good courtesy dock, so it's going to help us fix this solution as well. It'll cost us about $100,000 to do that, but it's going to be a very, very good dock. It still has the kayak launches from there, so it'll still be ADA accessible for kayak launching, and it's going to be a great thing to be there. A little update about the Leela kayak launch. We're at 90% design right now. We're going to be at 100% here pretty soon during this month. Our OPCC is coming in right under $1 million right now, and if we're lucky, we get a low bid. We have some adults we'd like to add in, so maybe we could pick up a couple of those. The project is slated to bid by mid-March of this year. Construction timeline about 4 months, so depending on the release rate, of course, as long as they can work in there. But during that time, we're going to close kayak access at Leela during the whole construction process, which will help us give us some of the cover to try to get as much of that debris out and open, so when we open this launch, everybody can get down that river. Some of the next steps we need to do is secure our funding, so it's going to be a combination of CIP funding, operational funds, things like that. We do have to get U.S. Army Corps of Engineers regulatory approval. They may require some full architectural drawings. They may let us go on the maintenance plan under our maintenance agreement if we do the geotech. We're still working out with them. Construction is probably going to be about 2 to 3 months once we get their approvals. So hopefully it doesn't take us too long to get it open. And then the updated launches, it's going to give us a cleaner, easier thing to work with, especially for staff cleanup time and the capacity to reopen much, much quicker. And with that, we have discussion questions.
I have a couple questions. So how old is that dock that's going to be relocated? How old is that dock?
From the Hebron one?
Yeah, the
It
one
was
that-
installed in 2020.
Okay, so it's 6 years old. What's the useful life of the dock?
They can last 20, 30 years probably.
What's the new one cost?
A new one, I don't have that off the top of my head. I can get that to you.
I'm just curious, because if it's going to be 102,000 to move it, it's 140,000 to do it.
No, it's much more.
Much more, okay. You don't have to give it for me, it's much more.
Yeah, no, much, it is much more.
Good enough, all right, thank you.
Mhm.
I was gonna ask, part of that cost, I assume would, I mean, with that big tree hitting it, I'm assuming that there's some damage that has to be fixed to it as well. Is
We've,
that included in that 102?
we fixed that damage already.
Oh, you fixed it
Yeah.
already, okay.
Mhm.
Don't look like we got any more questions. Looks like a good plan of action. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right, item C on tonight's agenda, potential revision to council's policy on speaker protocol. Our city secretary, Jennifer Malone Ippolito, is going to present.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, City Management. So we're here tonight to talk about City Council meeting speaker protocol. If you remember, we brought this to you in a workshop on September 15th of last year. Our current policy was adopted in 2019. These are some of the things that the policy address. So it provides the rules for the meeting and then lets everybody know what the processes are. Balances transparency and open government with efficiency, and provides the presiding officer with the flexibility needed to run the meeting when these scenarios come up, and then also provides us an opportunity to hear from the public. So this is the feedback that we received from the meeting on the 15th for a public hearing, to allow 10 minutes for the applicant with 5 minutes for rebuttal and then 5 minutes for all other speakers. Visitors forum and regular hearing items to allow 3 minutes for the speakers, and then to continue to allow double the amount of time when a speaker is using a translator. There was interest in adding an incentive to double the allotted time when a group of 5 or more chooses a spokesperson. Interest in adding the provision to allow the presiding officer to extend the speaking time. Our current policy only allows for a reduction in that time. And then a change to the requirement for the speaker to state their name and address for the record. Make a change to only require the speaker to state their name and city for the record. So the written address will still be required on the speaker card. It just will not be included in the minutes or spoken in the meeting. That still will be subject to an open records request if we receive one. And then there was interest in adding the following language to the policy. This is regarding the rules of decorum. Our current policy does not have this information in it, and this paragraph here is what the presiding officer reads prior to visitors forum at our council meetings. Give you just a minute to look at that.
Jennifer,
Yes.
so this says to clearly state their name and address. Do we need to modify that? If
Yes,
we're
we'll-
only requiring them to their city of residence?
Yes. Yes, we'll modify that to read name and city.
Yeah, and remember this, we're using this language now. We're just adding it, creating a policy, which
Right.
we're adding this to policy. Policy was very vague if we had a
Very
formal
vague. Did
one
we
at
have
all.
one?
Not on this,
No.
not on decorum.
Yeah,
So
not on
we'd be
decorum,
adding-
so.
We'd be adding that, but yes, this was just the language that you always read, but if we're making the other change, we would say
It would be
only city,
updated.
yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna put forth maybe one more tweak to that. And that, Mayor, I don't think you were, I think I was filling in for you when this happened. We had a speaker go up and kept addressing the developer in the audience. So I wondered that we could change that to mayor rather than council, individual members, staff, or other audience members. That did happen, I had to call that back. Just a suggestion.
The cast council or staff, yep. Or other audience members, I think that's fair.
Okay, so then for speakers' use of the audio-visual system, council requested that staff do additional research on this topic and then bring back information for consideration. And so that's what we're here for now. So our practice is that we only allow the applicants the ability to use the AV system. They're required to submit these presentations in advance so that we can do a cybersecurity check. And then we also test those out during our meeting run-through on the day of the council meeting.
And can I clarify something on that? Correct me if I'm wrong, but, so we put down Lewisville practice, so I don't believe our policy actually currently talks about our AV rules, is that
I
right?
believe that's correct.
Yeah, so what our practice has been as city management for multiple generations of city managers is to rely on the mayor to give us, direction with regard to that. And so this has been the direction of prior mayors, was just to.
It didn't work.
He wasn't
Going
shushing.
on.
He
I don't
wasn't
know
shushing.
what happened.
I was trying to grab a
Don't
chocolate.
kill him.
I was trying to grab a chocolate.
Now I'm thrown off. But anyway, we've and that conversation was had when Mayor Gilmore first came into office, was whether or not we wanted to open it up. And this is, our current practice is consistent with what Mayor Gilmore had advised.
Okay, and then for all of their speakers right now, we just ask them to provide hard copies of their presentation, and then we hand those out to you before the meeting. So which cities allow the use of the AV system for the presentations at council meetings? So 4 cities do not allow the use of their AV system. Now, of those 4 cities, Plano and Irving do have an overhead projector that they allow people to bring their hard copies and display them on there.
I had to laugh at that because I don't even know where you can overhead projector.
Right?
If that breaks, I guess they can't do it anymore. I
I
suppose.
got one in my attic.
Yeah, you only had it, yeah.
So again, for Lewisville, we just allow the applicant to use the system. Dallas and Garland, in a prior survey, they responded that they do allow that use, but we were unable to get an answer from them for this survey. So we know they allow it, we just don't know if they allow it for applicant or non-applicant or both. 6 cities only allow a limited use, so they only allow the applicant to use it, not the non-applicant. And then 5 cities, including Allen, Coppell, Flower Mound, Fort Worth, and McKinney, allow both the applicant and the non-applicant use of that system. So these are the 9 survey questions that we posed to our survey cities. Each of these are going to be discussed on the next slides, but if you want to take a minute to look at those questions. Okay, so the first question that we asked was, how often do people use the AV system for presentations at city council meetings? So of the 5 cities that said that they allow it, 3 of the cities said that it's rarely used. City of Allen said at least once per month, and then City of Fort Worth was approximately once per month. So the next question we asked was, what do you do to guard against malware getting loose on your city network? So City of Allen just said that files or flash drives that are submitted and can't be scanned for viruses are not permitted. City of Coppell requires advanced submissions so that they can review them. So does the town of Flower Mound and McKinney. And then the City of Fort Worth reviews the PowerPoints and videos, but they said they don't take any extra precautions. So when we asked them how many times in the past year some sort of malware was discovered in a presentation, all 5 of the cities said that there weren't any. So then this question was referring back to the last question, so all of them said it was not applicable. We asked them what presentation formats they allow. The majority of them allow the PowerPoint and PDF. City of Coppell gave us some additional formats that they allow. City of McKinney said that they'll allow both, but they'll convert them to PDF when possible. So we asked how much time is spent by staff per council meeting on vetting the presentations for security concerns. City of Allen said they do no formal review. Coppell reported minimal staff time. Town of Flower Mound and City of McKinney both reported unknown, as the individual departments are responsible for that task. And then Fort Worth, depends on the volume, but they estimated no more than 30 minutes per meeting.
It's an interesting comment, because they get 1 a month approximately. So the volume is 1, I'm guessing.
Right.
And that sounds like that was one of these big thumbs in the air kind of things.
So they have the individual departments doing this and not our IT specialists looking for, I got an issue
I wouldn't
with
be that way.
that.
Yeah.
No.
I thought they were pretty good.
So when we asked them, is there anything you know now that you wished you had known when your city first started allowing AV use? We got all responses of no, except City of Fort Worth, who advised us to always test any form of presentation prior to the meeting to avoid issues.
Just to make sure it works, not to make sure.
Right, which we do that in our meeting run-throughs. So for this question, how many times in the last year has someone used AV equipment in ways that would be considered a violation of your standard speaker protocol? 4 of the cities said none. City of McKinney said 2 times, indicated it was the same person who attended 2 separate regular meetings. So I did check with them to find out what the violation was, and they told me that it was profanity. I did watch the videos, and there was profanity. But it wasn't on a presentation. There was no presentation. That was just somebody speaking, into the microphone. So he did not have a presentation.
So they're violated regardless of the medium. They were speaking, they said.
Right.
Nothing to do with
So then that
that.
answer, really for our purposes, would also be no.
So I was gonna ask that question.
Well, the video,
Thank you
yeah.
for following up on that. It's a important distinction.
Absolutely. So then our last question was, on what agenda items do you allow the AV use? So public hearing items, visitors forum, regular agenda items. All 5 cities allow this on all of the items. So that is the end of my presentation. Time for discussion or any questions that you have?
So, last time we talked about this, I don't recall if we talked about whether we're considering doing this for public hearing, regular hearing, or visitor forum. I'm not sure, did we discuss that?
I don't think we made a distinction.
Yeah, we were
We were
broad.
talking about public hearings.
We were talking about it as in its
total.
entirety.
All of it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but I could see, so I see where you're going, like maybe could you do a different rule for visitor citizen forum than maybe public hearing where you've got an applicant and someone from the public?
I'm just thinking, we've established different time limits for each of those. The speaker gets different time limits depending on, what the item is. And so, some of it, I think, was what the visitor forum, and the regular items are 3 minutes. I have never been able to make a 3-minute PowerPoint presentation. You know what I mean? That is just really, really fast. And it just seems, I'm just wondering how much effort and energy is going into that short of a time frame. It just seems like that's a lot of time and energy into something that we're not getting a whole lot of output on.
Well, you're not getting any output on. Because we can't talk about it.
Well, certainly
To
for the-
visitors.
Well, and that's the other thing with the visitor forum, we can't discuss that. So, anything that's brought to us as part of a visitor forum, we're not even allowed to engage with that.
So given that I think I was one that's most vocal about AVUs, I'll concede the visitor forum. I don't see much of a use for that. I think where I'm really interested in this is making sure the folks who come in, they want to present counterpoints, have the same and equitable use of the equipment as anybody else does. So I'll concede the visitor forum. I'm with you. I don't think there's a big need for that, for all the reasons you discussed already.
Well, that's two of us then.
So let's go back to, I think it's slide 3. There we go. Look at that, I remembered. So these are our 3 categories of public speaking within the environment, right? So a regular hearing, 3 minutes, a visitors forum, 3 minutes, a public hearing, 10 minutes with 5 and 5.
That's for the applicant,
Yeah. Yep,
5 for all other
Right.
speakers.
right. So, I think I'm hearing consensus on, visitors forum that we're good. It doesn't need
I'm fine
AV,
with that, yeah.
somebody, yeah, so,
Well, they don't have time unless they plan this way ahead to get this, to get it vetted
For the visitor forum.
for a visitor forum.
Yeah, I'm in agreement.
Because I'm totally against anything that hasn't gone through our IT department.
so that's the 1/3 of it handled, addressed, I think we got a policy. Yes, good?
Yep.
Okay. You got
I got it.
clarity on that?
Yep.
So let's talk about regular hearing items, which we don't get a whole lot of comment on regular hearing items either historically,
No.
so.
It's only 3 minutes, so I mean.
It's only 3 minutes. I'm more focused on the public hearing because,
Okay, well, let's knock down regular hearing first.
So I will say, so Jennifer did a nice job of going back and asked her to count the people who came in and spoke at each area. Visitor forum, biggest one. I didn't think it was that much, but it looks like 40% of people show up. 40% means we have one person or more show up for that. For regular hearing, 0. Nobody, we've had from October 2024 to 2025, we had 0 speakers present at regular hearing. So I think that's a non-issue. I'm not concerned about that.
So regular hearing, I'm hearing consensus around 3 minutes, we don't need to worry about AV.
Okay.
these numbers right now. Yeah.
So we got those 2. Let's go to public hearings. There's 2 questions here. One is around the timing, the second is around AV. Fair enough?
Mhm.
So, we okay with the timing?
Yes.
I'm good with the timing.
Okay, so, got consensus on that one. Now, the question then becomes AV. Do you want AV as part of the 5-minute rebuttal for other speakers?
Can I color that before we talk, because I think it's important.
Sure.
So of the 31 meetings that we had speakers present 7 times. So we had 23% of the time somebody was actually present. We've had 1 speaker 3 times. We had more than 1 speaker 4 times, 13% of the time. And the most we ever had was 14. That was probably the STRs, if I had to guess. So even at that, it's pretty rare that we get speakers and then say, okay, let a subset who's going to want to present. And if you use Fort Worth as kind of directional, the population of just over a million people live in Fort Worth. They get once a month. So I don't know that this is going to be a crushing burden on anybody.
They also do their meetings mid-work day.
Yeah.
They got some different constraints.
Okay, fair enough.
But I get your point, it's well taken.
To me, it's just the applicant should be able to present. I mean,
With multimedia.
right.
Okay.
As long as it's vetted, and if, on the public hearings, they know it's already gone through P and Z. And so they should, there needs to be a time frame in which we say it has to be turned in. and vet it first.
So.
We have that policy already though, right? I mean, because our applicants
No.
have already, don't our applicants, Richard,
The
already made?
applicants do, but not for the non-applicants.
Well, that's what we're talking about right now,
Applicants.
is the applicants.
Oh, well, I was talking about non-applicants.
So I think we're okay, I mean, we're okay with applicants using AV, and I think we're fine with the 10 minutes. I haven't heard anybody wanting to change that piece. I think everything that we're talking about at this point is anyone who wants to speak either in favor or opposition and use those 5 minutes. Do we want to be able to allow them to use AV for their response to the presentation that the applicant has developed with staff? Now, understand that the difference here in my head is that when an applicant develops that, they're actually developing that with staff. So there are some guide rails, there's, we don't get into First Amendment issues on that one. When we have a resident from the public come in and throw AV on there, we don't get to vet it.
Well, okay. Checking for viruses and stuff that can tear our system down, the IT.
That we absolutely can.
Cybersecurity stuff.
And
Yes,
I'm not
absolutely.
terribly, I mean, you and I are both in IT, I'm not terribly worried about something slipping through.
Especially if we limit it to PDFs, I think that's.
So, what I worry about in all of this is technology just adds more difficulty to the resident. You're gonna get people trying to do this who don't like to public speak. Within the not too distant future, they're gonna create AV-based avatars, and they're gonna type in all their stuff, and they're gonna let ChatGPT do it. It's gonna happen. You're going to have, so you get people that bring a PowerPoint and they embed audio or video into it or a link, and it can't get out. And so now they've crushed their whole argument, and they're sitting there flustered because the tech won't work. So to me, it creates a lot of hurdles. I feel like people use technology as a crutch. Quite frankly, the presentations I get from the developers, I'm constantly going back to the paper document because, first of all, I can't see the big screen, it's faced away from me, and my screen in front of me is too small, which we need to make a conversation about that. So I'm looking at the paper documents to actually see what's going on in most of that. So for me, and this is just, we're a team here.
I think I'm in the same boat.
That's what I take.
They got so much going on, what they're trying to do, present and all that. I think them having technology and all that, just another thing that they probably don't need anyway. They need to present their point. But like the mayor said, the packet, to me, is just as well.
So
I'm gonna push on that a bit here.
Sure.
That one, I don't think it's my job to dictate and tell people how to best present their point. I think that's an individual choice to determine how they think they can best make their case. So I don't really want to police that. We had, really there were, if I go back to kind of what we had before, there were really just a few main concerns. One was the timing. 3 minutes or 5 minutes is 5 minutes is 5 minutes. So it doesn't take any more time to present a video or, I'm sorry, a PDF than it does to speak for 5 minutes. So time, I think, is not an issue. Undue burden on staff was brought up. I think staff has said not a problem. We saw that also with the comparison, so it's not a problem. Risk of malware is brought up. Probably the number one entry point for malware is email. We get that all the time, and we deal with that. This is very, very low. I can't imagine that we're gonna have more than any other city trying to use AV equipment. And then, to your point, people don't use it effectively. I let them use the tools they think they need to use. I'm not going to police it. I just want to make sure they have a fair venue. And that's kind of my thoughts on it.
okay.
So my thought is, if we're going to say we want to allow people to use the AV equipment, and we're gonna say we want you to use a PDF. What I'm struggling with is trying to figure out what is gained by allowing someone to come in and put their PDF presentation on the screen versus giving us a hard copy, because we're the ones who vote. We see it anyway, the way we do it now. So what is gained? What are we gaining? What are we giving our, the people who want to come and speak? What are we giving to them by allowing them to put it on the screen? There's very little difference.
We're allowing them to present the case, the best case that they can in 5 minutes. That's what we're allowing them to do. That's my point.
But
I can make the same point
how is
about-
that different than the way we do it now, though? That's what I'm not getting,
We
is
don't allow it
how is
legally
it
now.
different?
We don't allow AV equipment now. I don't understand the question.
Well, we allow people to give us a printout of a PDF.
I can tell you, I had one instance here where I came in with a deck, and we showed that deck. I was much more comfortable presenting it on a screen than having you guys all looking down, seeing the tops of your heads, you look through my slides manually. I think there's also given that I realize we're the ones that vote, but you can make the same case about when the applicants put out. Why let the applicants do it? Clearly, they think that's a better venue for them to make the argument, or they wouldn't do it. So I would put that back to them. I do think there's also power in having the room see what we're looking at as well. The room's not voting, but I do think there's power in having the room see the points they're trying to make as well. But that's my take.
Okay.
I would also go back and say, okay, I'll ask the inverse of that question. What are we losing? Nothing. We don't lose anything in this. The risks are small, rarely happens, no undue burden on staff. There's no risk to this, there's no downside to it that I can see based on the comparative cities or the research that I've done. The upside is we're allowing people to present their best case.
Bob, thoughts?
I guess, I guess I agree with Councilman Kelly.
Patrick, would you be willing to have the technology be limited to PDFs with no
Absolutely.
audio, no video, and no external links?
Absolutely.
No external links, and they have to have it in, by Wednesday?
So
of the
that's a
meeting
good
to get
question
it
because when are our agendas now out?
Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah. Okay.
But on public hearings, they know,
It goes through P and Z.
it goes through P and Z, they're notified there, so they're gonna know.
I think typically what's our practice right now with the applicant? I mean, if they get it to us, how early do they usually get, not usually, like when's the last we would take it?
I'm actually not sure,
We just need time for Chris's team to.
Richard.
We usually have it for P and Z, so we have it 3 weeks either earlier.
Just plug it into your laptop. Chris will know pretty quick if it's bad.
But note that not all public hearings have to go through P and Z, you have some that
Right,
are.
some will go straight up to us.
Yeah.
So Thursday?
Yeah. I'd be
That
fine
would
with
be 72 hours,
Yeah.
wouldn't that be 72 hours beforehand?
I'm fine with that. I do think, we need some time to react. We don't want to push this all up to Friday. Friday's a half a day.
No,
I
no,
think there's-
Friday's way too late. I'd say Wednesday by 5 or Thursday morning.
It's fine with us. We can accommodate it.
Okay. Then we will allow, it sounds like we've got consensus around the timeframes here and that for a speaker who is speaking to the applicant's position can take their 5 minutes and present using a PDF with no external links, no video, no audio, as part of their communication to the council.
I like it.
That eliminates some of my concerns of the next wave of technology.
And I don't think I'm trying to get nervous on applicant, give a video, so I don't think I've ever, maybe once or twice like this.
I'm looking 3 years out.
No,
Yeah.
I agree. But we're agreeing on this. I'm saying it just hasn't been that big a deal so far, so I think the parity is still there.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the YouTubers that monetize city council stuff to find angles.
Absolutely.
All right. Staff, you got what you need?
Sure do, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, with that, we are done with our workshop. We will go ahead and recess. We will rejoin in a regular session at 7 p.m.
Yes.
Maybe his campaign chief.
But they were protecting themselves because.
All right, good evening. It is 7 p.m. and welcome to the Lewisville City Council. We have a quorum. First up tonight on the agenda is the invocation with Councilmember Kristen Green.
Please rise and join me for a moment of silent contemplation. Amen. Thank you.
Councilmember Kelly, join me in the pledges. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
Let's see. All right, next up, we have the Visitors Forum. During the Visitors Forum, speakers must address their comments to the mayor rather than to individual council members or staff. Speakers should speak clearly and state their name and address prior to beginning their remarks. Speakers will be allowed 5 minutes for testimony. Speakers making personal, impertinent, profane, or slanderous remarks may be removed from the meeting. Unauthorized remarks from the audience, stamping of feet, whistles, yells, clapping, and similar demonstrations will not be permitted. In accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, the City Council is restricted from discussing or taking action on items not listed on the agenda. Action can only be taken at a future meeting. I do have one request for the Visitors Forum, and that is from Mr. Robert Chick. Mr. Chick, if you wouldn't mind stating your name and your city for the record, you got time. Come on up.
Howdy, folks. Oops, sorry about that. Mr. Mayor, Council, my name is Robert Chick. That's C-H-I-C-K, like a little bird. I'm from Sanger, Texas, and I'm running to represent the great city of Lewisville in U.S. Congress on the Republican ticket March 3rd. If you want the rest of my bio, go to stickwithchick.org, and you can read it there. America's problems, Texas's problems, Lewisville's problems, all have solutions. Punishing property taxes, affordability of basic goods, youth homeownership, keeping the dam up to shape, all have federal solutions. If we can figure out how to split the atom, we can figure out how to lower your grocery bill. But that's not going to be done with cable news interviews or little tweets or empty suits. It's going to be done with real people with real ideas. If you want to see how I'm going to get that done, along with bringing a VA medical center to North Texas so that we can serve our veterans a little bit more efficiently, give me a call, shoot me a text, go to my website, stickwithchick.org, or come see me, or I'll come to you. Remember, I work for the people. That's how this country is supposed to be. That's how it operates best. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Next up is consent agenda. All the following items on the consent agenda are considered to be self-explanatory by the council, being acted with one motion. There'll be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or member of the public so requests. For a member of the public to request removal of an item, a speaker card or e-comment must be filled out and submitted to the city secretary. We have no requests from the public for removal of items, but I do have one for city council.
Yes, Mayor, I would like to pull item number 3.
All right. So we'll go ahead and pull item number 3. So I need a motion to approve the consent agenda excluding item 3.
Move to approve the consent agenda excluding item number 3.
Right.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Council, if you please vote. Consent agenda passes 5-0. Next up on the agenda, item 3, and I need to recuse myself on this one.
Item 3, approval of the third, let me move some things around here. The third amendment to the Economic Development Agreement between the City of Lewisville and Deck-On Main LLC in authorization for the city manager or her designee to execute the agreement. Deck-On Main LLC developer entered into an economic development agreement with the City of Lewisville on May 12, 2021. Related to the redevelopment of the property located at 191 West Main Street, the developer reached a substantial completion in December of 2025. The agreement contemplates that the city and developer will enter into a lease agreement for the public restrooms And this third amendment provides greater flexibility in the lease terms. Specifically, the third amendment, 1, extends the deadline to execute the lease and authorizes the city manager to grant additional time as needed. 2, establishes a fixed year rent payment of $24,000 due within 30 days of lease execution with a reconciliation year 1. 3, sets rent for subsequent years based on actual costs from the prior year, allows when costs are expected to change subject to the city manager approval, and grants the city manager discretion to determine whether documentation supports the claimed actual costs, including a tolling provision during bona fide disputes. 4, allows the city at its sole discretion to assume certain restroom maintenance responsibilities otherwise assigned to the developer with corresponding reductions in payment. And 5, provides greater flexibility in the timing for the submission and approval of the annual documentation required to support rent payments. Funding is available in the Economic Development Incentive Capital Project. Council? Recommendation is that the City Council approve the amendment and authorize the city manager or her designee to execute the amendment as set forth in the caption above. Do I have a motion?
Motion approval.
Second?
Second.
Do we all vote?
Is that good enough?
We couldn't pick it up on the mic.
Yeah.
Can you say it again?
I can say it again, absolutely. Approval of the Third Amendment, a motion to approval of the Third Amendment to the Economic Development Agreement between the City of Lewisville and Decon Maine LLC, and authorization for the city manager or her designee to execute the agreement.
Second.
Here we go. Motion passed.
Item E, regular hearing. 10, consideration of an ordinance of the Lewisville City Council amending Chapter 16 Utilities, Article 4, Water and Sewer Extensions of the Lewisville City Code by adding Sections 16-208 through 16-212 to establish a Capital Improvements Advisory Committee separate from the Planning and Zoning Commission and provide for membership, meetings, officers, duties, and responsibilities of the committee, and providing for a savings clause, repeal or severability, a penalty, and an effective date. Due to changes in state statutes during the 2025 Texas State Legislative Session, the Planning and Zoning Commission may no longer serve as a Capital Improvement Advisory Committee. The ordinance establishes a separate CIAC and provides a framework for the committee in compliance with state statute. Should this ordinance be adopted, the next step will be to appoint members to the CIAC that meet the requirements set by the state. It's recommended that the City Council approve the ordinance as set forth in the caption above, and we do have Mr. Richard Ludke, our Planning Director, and Aaron Russell, our Public Services Director, available for questions.
Do we have a timeline on there of when this has to be, when we have to seat the committee? Or are we going to do it in the June?
We're still discussing it internally, but there is no state mandate as far as the deadline.
Okay, thank you.
I also had a question about that because I believe, was there somewhere in here that said that, okay, so the odd number positions will be appointed in 2026 and the even, the last time I read this, it said something about 2025. Was that updated since we didn't establish this in 2025? Okay, so we've got that fixed to where the, so one of the odd number positions appointed in 2026 shall serve a 1-year term. And then the even positions will be appointed also now, but those will be a 2-year term, right? Am I understanding that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Richard, I have a quick question for you, please. Just for those that might be listening, can you kind of review what this board does and how it's different planning and zoning, what the thought process was behind the legislator for pulling this out, and who's comprising this board?
Yes, sir. The primary responsibility of that board is approval of impact fees. They meet twice a year to prepare a report, which is presented to the City Council as required by the state of Texas. And every 5 years, when we update our land use assumptions and our impact fee ordinance, they also review all of that information and make a recommendation to the City Council.
So impact fees being the fees associated with bringing services out there, how it's going to actually impact the infrastructure.
Water and
they have.
sewer capital improvements.
And then this is a board of 5, and it's, who comprises this board?
This will be a board of residents, but the state does require that, I believe, 3 must be employed in the development or real estate industries and not by a governmental entity.
Okay. Thank you, Richard.
And the impact fees would be like water and sewer impact fees that a developer would pay, right? Like when you
Yes, those are
build-
fees collected to increase capacity proportional to the burden that's being created by the new development.
Well, I move to approve the ordinance as set forth in the caption.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Council, please vote. Motion passes 5-0. Item 11, consideration of an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Lewisville, Texas, amending the previously adopted and approved budget ordinance for the fiscal year October 1, 2024 to September 30, 2025, providing a supplemental appropriation to the debt service fund and providing an effective date. In September 2025, the City of Lewisville completed a competitive sale of its general obligation refunding and improvement bonds, Series 2025. A portion of this issuance was structured to refund outstanding portions of the city's Series 2015 and Series 2016 general obligation bonds in order to achieve debt service savings. The bond sale closed in September. A supplemental appropriation is now requested to properly record the refunding transaction in compliance with state statute and budgetary requirements. The refunding provided sufficient revenue to cover this expenditure. It's recommended that the City Council approve the ordinance as set forth in the caption, and I'll entertain a motion.
Motion for the ordinance is set forth in the caption.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Council, please vote. Item post passes 5-0. Item number E12. This item was originally on the agenda for the January 26, 2026 City Council meeting. That meeting was canceled due to inclement weather, and the item was rescheduled to this meeting. However, the deadline of submitting a nomination has passed for the DCAD, so no action is needed from council at this time. James Lawrence was one of the folks that was recommended for this one. He actually did get appointed by the City of Carrollton, so we will have an opportunity to come back on that.
I have a
Or is
clarification.
it-
I gave
is
you
it
the wrong
posting?
information.
Oh, what do we got to do?
Let me clarify about what the process is. So because this was an unexpired term, the regulations for DCAD basically say to fill that unexpired terms, they ask for nominations, but then the DCAD board gets to choose
Gets to
amongst
choose
those
from that.
nominations. So
Okay.
the person that you were considering nominating was nominated, but the DCAD board will be making that decision. So I didn't want you to think it was coming back. I gave you that
Got
misinformation.
it, got it. So would we be able to, Liz, put a letter of support for an individual if council so decided tonight, or is that outside the bounds of what we're talking about tonight? It's only posted for resolution. Could we make a resolution to support him?
That resolution is not on the agenda.
Okay, fair enough. Council, if you have an individual that you might want to support on that, you might want to reach out. All right, since there's no action to be taken on item 12, we'll go ahead and move on to reports. Reports about items of community interest regarding no action will be taken. I do not have any staff reports posted at this time. Councilmember Kelly, would you mind?
No reports, Mayor.
Councilmember Green?
I just wanted to give a little shout out. I honestly, every time we have any type of weather event, I am always absolutely blown away by our city staff, across all departments. Obviously, the most visible are our fire and police and our public works guys that are out there managing our roads. And, I did see some chatter online talking about how, the city's not doing anything with the roads. I personally saw Yes, we do not have traditional plows, but we do have equipment, and I saw that equipment making the rounds daily. And, you know, there was a lot of hard work put in, and considering how much ice was dumped on our roads, we really were positioned very, very well. But I know that it made life very difficult for those people on the front lines for several days that still continued to get out and brave those conditions to come in and serve the citizens of this city. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for your willingness to do that. And I know the reason that you do it is because you love this place just as much as we do. And we see you and we appreciate it. I also just wanted to mention it, you know, obviously the weather also impacted our trash service. And I know I saw some chatter today about some complaints about some things. And with that, we just ask for your patience. You know, obviously there were a couple of days last week where the trash trucks just couldn't get out. They couldn't do it. And that means that people with Monday and Tuesday service are going to have a lot more bulk. They've got 2 weeks worth of trash that needs to be picked up. And so it's going to take them a little bit to catch up. And we just ask for your patience. They are coming, we promise. And if you don't get your trash picked up by the end of the week, then certainly reach out to us, and we'll get you in touch with the people that can make it happen. But we do just pray for or ask for your patience. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
I'd like to echo everything she said, but I'd like to stand up for our Parks and Leisure Services because they were there. They showed up, they set up, and they served those that are unhoused in Lewisville. And they did a fantastic job. We had volunteers. If you volunteered to be there to help set up Friday and check people in, we were there. Stacy was there. Marcus was there. We had other volunteers. Saturday, they were there. The beds were filling. It was a little slow at first, but when it started coming down and the temperatures started to drop, our citizens that had no shelter had shelter. And I am proud of the city, and you made sure they were taken care of. Well-fed, warm, and the donations that came in from various citizens and social service clubs and churches, it made my heart warm, knowing that, you know, humanity is still alive. People still have hearts. And by gosh, in Lewisville, we care. And in case you didn't know, when the temperatures dropped this weekend, the shelters were open. Our shelter was open again. And I can't tell you how thankful I am. Stacy, y'all, you ran a great ship. It was bam, bam, bam. The forms, perfect. Everything, perfect. Thank you very much.
City Manager?
Great work, team. And I also want to say congratulations to Aaron Russell and to Tad Phillips for future promotion.
No report, Mayor.
Councilmember Troyer?
I also want to echo what Councilmembers Green and
Cade.
It's okay. I have a real hard problem with names sometimes. Said about the performance. In one of my other hats, I had the opportunity to drive through a number of our neighboring cities during the event of the past week. And I have to say that Lewisville did a much better job than many of the other neighboring cities.
Absolutely.
So I just, hats off to Public Works and everybody else that was involved in that. I also have some things to report for the Grand Theater. Well, first of all, some performances going on. There's an intimate Mahler performance presented by the Lewisville Lake Symphony on the 6th. Texas Tunes, Jasmia Horn, presented by the City of Lewisville on February 7th. That's, Texas Tunes. Black Box Songwriter Series, Susanna Chaffel, presented by the City of Lewisville on February 15th. And as always, the acoustic jam sessions presented by the Visual Art League of Lewisville every Friday night. One activity, Art Talk by Tina Nyo, Creating Your Own Lines, presented by the Visual Art League of Lewisville on February 7th. And then exhibitions, Absolutely or Abstract, presented by the Visual Art League of Lewisville, January 10th through February 7th, so that's ending very soon. And then finally, a middle school exhibition presented by the Lewisville Independent School District, February 13th. And that is my report.
Thank you, Mr. Schroyer. Yeah, just a quick reminder, 3 inches of ice is not the same as 3 inches of snow. It's not even close. So I appreciate all the work that's out there. I do have just one small announcement, and I have been remiss because I meant to do this starting last month, but we'll get back into it. Just want to let everybody know that the lake is at 521.44 feet. It's 97.3% full. We're 0.6 feet below full, and we're very excited that the lake stays full. So with that, we're going to go into closed session. We have 3 items tonight, Section 551.072 Real Estate Property Acquisition and Section 551.087 Economic Development Deliberation regarding economic development negotiations. We're going to break into closed session. All right, we're back into regular and adjourned, and it is 7:40.
I would have gone longer than that, but.